Okay, so just if you've got 2 blocks, that's good. If you got one and then maybe a firm pillow of some kind, this is Zafu, but a firm like couch pillow or something like that, or a couple, that will be fine. You'll just need it for the first pose. And then after that, I don't think you'll need 2 blocks. Okay, so we're just going to go. Okay. All right, so I'm hoping the lighting's a little better this week. Today we're going to do upper body. So upper body, some shoulders. We're going to start off with your blocks. We're going to set one down longwise like that. And then the other one is going to be like this. So this can be a little bit, a lot, like you can really feel it in your rhomboids. So if you would prefer to use a pillow here, you could go this route and then lay this a little bit lower, or you can lay this flatter and then this flatter as well. So you do what feels good to you. And what you want to do is you want the bottom of this bottom block to go right between your shoulder blades, and then the bottom part hits the middle part of your back. So right there. So we're going to come down onto your block. If you decided to go this route, a pillow will work because we're trying to open the chest. And then the other block's just there to support your head. So we don't want it to be flapping back. You're supported, so you're feeling it into the chest. And then we'll start with the arms down by your sides. We're just having the arms down by your sides, and you're just trying to relax your shoulders as much as you can. Close your eyes and notice how it feels. Now, if it feels really awful, then this block might be in the wrong spot. You might need to usually move it down a little bit. Just move it slightly down, and it kind of seems to take care of that. And then we're feeling it maybe dig into your rhomboids a little bit, that block. We're going to close the eyes and think about directing the breath, the inhale, into the whole rib cage. So you feel the rib cage expand on the inhale and soften on the exhale. Now, if this feels like a lot to you, you just stay here with this and try to work your way to feeling more comfortable. But if you want a little more, you can bring your arms out to the sides. So you'll feel a stretch into your shoulders. A little bit more. So the higher your arms go, the more stretch you feel up into the shoulders. And we're keeping the breath directed into the rib cage. I'm just softening into the chest a little bit more. Now you can keep the legs straight, just like they are. They can be bent, or we can heel toe the feet together and let the knees come out to the sides. So this brings this back bend into your low back a little bit more and lets you stretch your hips at the same time. Let's just take a few more breaths here. Doing upper body in yoga is a lot about opening the heart. That can be hard with a broken heart, or if you're going through a lot of stress. We're just taking our time here and doing what's comfortable. And maybe just giving an acknowledgement in your practice today on where you are with the heart, on whatever level you are with your heart, too. So just a few more breaths. Now, if your knees are apart, we're going to bring them together. And bring your arms down just a little bit. So we're going to have the knees bent. And then just if you are under a block, we're just going to lean over a little bit to the right. And then back to center, lean a little bit over to the left. So you can feel that block kind of dig into your rhomboids a little. Then come back to center. Let's do the right side again. Maybe bring your arm up for that, just to see if you can get a little bit more. Come back to center, lean over to the left a little bit. Dig it in. You might feel one side more than the other, especially the side you write with. I can feel my left side because I'm a lefty a little bit more. Good, back to center. Good. So we're going to roll off of our blocks or your pillow or whatever you've got. We're going to roll off of them and onto the floor. And just leave those there for now and just relax. Good. We're going to press up to a seated position and bring those blocks off of your mat for now. And just come to seated. Good. We're sitting up nice and tall. Belly in. Lift the shoulders, pull them back and drop them down. Good. Let's do that a couple times. Lifting the shoulders, rolling them back and dropping them down. Just a couple more. Good. Breathing. Nice. And then we're going to lift them up, really up to the ears. Pull them back, all the way back toward the wall. Drop them down, making space between the ears and the shoulders. Good. So we're just holding here. We're really going to pull the shoulders down with the elbows, like you have a weight on your elbows. Pull the shoulders down and then relax. Good. And then we're going to drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Good. Bringing the head down to center. Let it hang. Back up to center. Left ear to left shoulder. Good. Down to center. Let it hang. Feel the stretch down the back of the neck. and back up to center. Good. So we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Now remember, you can always pad your knees with something, a pillow, a blanket, whatever you want. I have a blanket here, so I'm going to go ahead and use it, but you don't need to pad your knees, but if your knees hurt, it's always a good idea. So we're going to come onto the hands and knees. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Press the base of your pointer finger down into the mat, and then back is nice and straight. We're going to pull the belly in toward the spine and keep the belly in no matter what our back is doing. So we're pulling it in. Good. And then we're just going to arch the spine, looking up. So we're moving the neck here. And then we're going to round the spine, move the neck here. So your eyes, your gaze is to your belly button. That's how much you're moving the neck here. And then arch, looking up at the ceiling. Nice. And back down, looking at your belly button. Good. Let's do that a couple more. Arching, cat pose. Keep the belly pulled in so you feel the stretch in the belly, and then round. Look at the belly button. Pull the belly in. Good. And then find a neutral spine. I'm going to do a nice stretch into the shoulders here. Reach your hands forward toward the front of your mat. We're going to keep the elbows lifted as we bring the forehead down. So if the forehead doesn't make it down, because sometimes it doesn't, you can always take one of your blocks and place it there to just make it a little more manageable for you. Good. And then we're just going to relax here. Press your hands down into the mat, elbows lifted, and you're feeling your shoulder blades slide away from one another. So you're trying to pull them apart. And you're kind of pulling your upper arm bones away from your ears. Good. And then maybe you're going to lift your palms and just have your fingertips touching the floor. Breathe. Nice. And then relax the hands down. Relax the elbows down. Relax the hips down into child's pose. Big toes together. Soften into the shoulders. So we're taking all the tension out. Inhale, float up table. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Breathe. Heels sinking down, stretching through the back of the legs. Good. We're going to gaze in between your hands. Take your right foot and step it in between your hands. Your back foot could be anywhere. It could stay where it is. You could step it forward a little, do what feels good to you. We're going to turn your back heel down so we feel stable. Your left hip is rotating down toward the floor, belly in, warrior one. Good. So we're just reaching the arms up toward the ceiling. Shoulder blades are reaching down toward the floor. Good. Pull the arms a little behind the ears. And we're going to bend into the elbows and pull the elbows back. So we're getting a nice stretch through the chest again. Good. Breathe. So cactus arms and then reaching up. Nice. And then let's bring the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. So if your hands don't touch, you can always just work on touching, just grabbing the wrists. But if they do touch, you can interlace your fingers. Your elbows might be bent at first. So if your elbows are bent, you can hug your elbows toward one another. Just have your hands right here on the back of your glutes. If you can straighten into your legs, go ahead. To your arms, go ahead and straighten. And if you can, lift your wrists a little bit. Good. Feel that. Take your time. Now we're going to pull the belly in for a little bit of core strength for stability and take a little bow. Good. So you can take your gaze straight down. It's like putting a little foot on the floor, or you can take your gaze to your back foot. If you start to feel like you're going to fall, take the gaze back down. Good, and then release the hands, bring them back down, downward facing dog. Good job. Inhale, exhale. Good, so we're gonna do the other side. We're gonna take that right foot, step it in between your hands, and help your foot get there. Good, that back foot can of course hop forward a little. You just wanna turn the heel down, rotate that right hip down, sweep it up, warrior one. Good, breathe. Elbows coming out to the sides. Nice, pull the elbows back. Nice stretch, lifting the chest. Reach the arms back up. Nice, so we're reaching the fingertips to the ceiling, reaching the shoulders down to the floor. Bring the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Again, we're just putting the thumbs right on your low back or right on your glutes. Hug the elbows in so you get that stretch. Then maybe you're straightening into your arms. Maybe you lift your wrists away. Nothing is mandatory. And then you're just going to take a bow. Good. So if your hands are here, that's okay. That's perfect. And we're looking down, or we're going to take that gaze to that back foot. If you start to fall, bring the gaze back down. Very nice. Breathe. Release the bind. Stepping back, downward facing dog. Nice. So from here, we're going to lower down onto the knees. Let's find child's pose. Now we've done a lot of stretching into the chest. Let's do a little bit of working into the chest. Inhale, float up to table. Exhale, hugging the elbows toward one another, float forward into chaturanga. So your knees can be down. You don't need to have them lifted at all. And then we're going to come all the way down, toes pointing back, elbows hugging in, find a back bend. Good. Exhale, coming back down, child's pose. Good. So chaturanga is really all about working that upper body and using your abs. Good. So we're going to do one more pose, working the upper body. So this time, instead of chaturanga, we're going to come onto the elbows. So the elbows are going to be about shoulder width apart. So you know they're shoulder width apart by taking your hands, and if you can touch your elbows, they're not too far apart. If they're too far apart, you're going to work way too hard. You don't want to work too hard, just hard enough. And then we're going to take the palms and lay them down on the mat. Belly in, and then we're going to straighten into the legs, like so. You're going to hold. So the tendency is to lift the hips to make it easier. And at first, if you need to, that's okay. Then work toward getting your shoulders over your elbows and your shoulders, hips, and heels in line. And we're just going to take 3 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Lower the knees down. Let's find child's pose. Now this time, instead of leaving the arms forward, let's lay them next to your legs. Think about the shoulder blades just relaxing out to the sides. See if you can relax the shoulders to the floor. So you're kind of turning into a little bit of a turtle. And then from here, we're going to come up to seated. Swing the legs around. Okay, so we're going to do a stretch with the legs and the arms. So we're going to take, we'll do the fun thing. We'll do the fun little switch too. So we're going to take we'll take your right foot and place it next to your glute. So we're going to bring it in. So the knee is really bent. I hope you can see me okay. So your knee's really bent. The other leg is going to go up and around. So what you're trying to do, so my knees are not stacked, so you're trying to stack the knees. The more open your hips, the more you can stack your knees. Now, if this is not happening, straighten your bottom leg and hug that foot in. Okay, this is your beginning of cow face pose. Cow face legs, that's what we're going to do. Good, so we're going to sit up tall and bring the arms out. Bending into the elbows. We're going to bring the elbows together. Bring your right elbow underneath your left and just latch them around. If they don't make it, just bring your elbows together, hands together, and then press your elbows away from you. If you do get the wrap, press the elbows away from you. We're going to lift the elbows, everybody. Good. So you're feeling another stretch. So we opened into the chest. We're stretching that same heart chakra area from the back now. Sometimes feels safer. And then we're going to lower the elbows down. Let's inhale, lift the elbows up. And then let's stretch over the legs. Breathe. It's a little uncomfortable, a lot of constricting. Maybe even squeeze the legs a little bit. Squeeze the arms a little bit. So we're creating a little bit of a ball. Good, and then coming back up, release the binds. Ooh, so if your bottom leg is straight, you're just going to switch. If you do have this cow face thing going on, then I'm going to show you a little bit of fun transition. So it's the top foot, we're going that way. So we're going to go around, lift the legs, the feet stay right where they are, and you switch over to the other side, just like that. Now, if you're totally confused, just from the other way, just switch them over. That's okay too, okay? So it's just a fun little thing to try, good for parties. You know, if you wanna dazzle drunk people, you can do that. So we're gonna stack your knees again, sitting up tall. Remember, the bottom leg can be straight if you need it to be. Good, so we're gonna bring the arms wide, elbows bent, and we're gonna bring that right elbow underneath the left. Remember, you can bring those elbows together and then relax the elbows down. Good, inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift and hold. Press the elbows away, and then let's fold over the legs. Breathe. Squeeze the legs. Squeeze the arms. Feel like you're coming into like a tight little ball. You can even hug the knees and the elbows toward one another. You're squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. And then release coming. Let's straighten into the arms and the legs. Shake them out a little bit. Nice, coming back onto our back. Now, if you really liked the block setup, you can always go back to that for your Shavasana or whatever you want to do. If you just want to relax and not worry about that, we're just going to heel toe the feet together. Bring the hands to the belly. Let the inner thighs soften. And notice, since we're focusing on the upper body a little bit here, you're going to just notice the placement of your shoulders. So it can be a little bit weird. Your shoulders might feel like they're rolling up. So you kind of think about trying to lay your shoulder blades flat down on your mat. And you do that by kind of tucking the tops of your shoulders down underneath you just a little bit. So then you start to feel like a little flatter in your upper body. So you start to feel like when you feel flatter, you can relax your shoulders a little bit more. You can relax your arms a little bit more. You can let your arms come out to the sides. Relaxing the muscles of the neck and your jaw and your scalp, and especially your forehead. And then just letting the knees sink down toward the floor a little bit more without pushing them. You're just trying to relax a little bit more, letting the legs get heavier. Now you can stay in this position for the rest of the class, or we can slowly bring the knees together, nice and slow, super slow motion. Good. We're going to bring the bottoms of the feet now down to the mat and then straighten into the legs. And just like at the beginning of class, just think about bringing your breath into the rib cage, into the lowest part of your rib cage and all the way up. Expanding the rib cage with each breath. So you're doing a small stretch from the inside, from the heart center. Gently bending into the knees. If they're straight, if the knees are out to the sides, bring them together. You're going to roll onto one side of your body and rest. Take a couple of breaths. And then we're going to press up to a seated position. One more time, just thinking about the shoulders being a little bit softer. The arms being a little bit heavier. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Namaste.